what has happened in the skirmish of Tucker Carlson interviewing Nick Fuentes, which we have both already discussed in a previous episode and on our separate platforms. I did a whole article about my opinion, position, or whatever on my Substack, which is open to everyone if you want to go read that. But there have been some updates since then, because the last time that we spoke on this topic, we had not heard from, had we heard from Kevin Roberts, the head of the Heritage Foundation, at the time that we recorded the podcast? I didn't think so.
No, because we recorded on Thursday afternoon.
Yes, and the statement was on Friday.
It was on Thursday night.
Okay.
Because I remember we were, right? Yeah, I was somewhere where I was like, oh no,
It's all a
oh
blur.
no, this is not going to go over well. So we have not talked about it.
Okay, in the aftermath, and now we don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, okay? Because our thoughts and our feelings are out there because we were asked and we shared. We, because we do what we can. But I did want to provide an update because there's now been a lot of maneuvering and a lot of changes that have happened. There's been a ripple effect that has happened since this interview played out. One of them being that the head of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, he made a statement on his X. And many of you have already seen the statement. If you want to see the full statement, it is in that Substack article that I mentioned on my Substack. It's Meseidy.com. And it's I don't know, like a 4 or 5 minute statement. And a lot of things stood out to people specifically about it, where he basically, I don't know, it wasn't the best statement. It wasn't well received. And he did not directly address in that statement the issue of, he said, although I abhor what Nick Fuentes says, essentially, I don't believe in canceling, and Heritage Foundation will always stand by Tucker Carlson, that they're not separating from Tucker Carlson because there have been reports of them removing him from their donor website or page, I should say.
Because they did, didn't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
they
his
did.
name was removed. Yeah.
And so because of that removal, it led to a whole bunch of rumors. A lot of people were putting pressure on Heritage Foundation. This led Roberts to put out this statement. In the aftermath of the statement, not everybody was loving the statement. I personally didn't love it. I thought it was incomplete. I thought there was a lot left to interpretation. And when you're in a position of leadership, I think when you're going to put out a statement like that, it needs to be a whole lot clearer. And even if I completely agreed with him, I think it would need to be a whole lot clearer because of the position of Heritage Foundation. Well, that caused a whole thing. And it was particularly interesting because Heritage Foundation has a one voice policy. In that one voice policy, it means that nobody that's with the organization would publicly undermine or, kind of like air out dirty laundry in public. Right. And that did happen. A lot of people made public statements. Then he had to follow up with a long tweet where he listed everything that he had issues with Nick Fuentes. Okay, cool. Then he ended up doing an interview with Loesch, where he was specifically asked about the comment that he made, or actually about the comment that Tucker Carlson made about Christian Zionist. And I have that clip here.
A lot of people feel confusion because they feel as though their criticisms, which seem to be scripturally based, are being maligned as the division that is being sown, or that's what is being described as venomous. And I think a lot of individuals find that hard to reconcile, especially when it's said in defense of someone who would say that they hate Christian Zionists, or they hate people like Mike Huckabee or Ted Cruz because they support, Israel as a U.S. ally. Why doesn't that description go both ways?
That description can go both ways. What we're trying to do is eliminate that kind of venom both directions.
Is it venomous to say that you hate Christian Zionists?
Oh, of course it is. I've been really clear, not just yesterday and today, but my entire career, that and the Heritage certainly has in its entire existence, that those kinds of things are just abhorrent. I said that literally yesterday.
Because Tucker said those things. So that would be, is that not sowing division?
It's certainly not helpful, but it doesn't mean that he ought to be canceled, because if in fact,
well, that's not the question. It's not whether he should be canceled. Is that sowing division to say things like that?
Yes.
Oh, certainly.
A lot of people feel confusion because
Rachel,
they feel as though their criticisms, which seem to be scripturally based, are being.
Oh, it was restarting. Sorry.
Yeah.
But so that was his response. Now, can I just point out that that is an appropriate interview?
Correct. That's called pushing back
Yes.
on bad ideas or pushing back on unclear things. I used to be a cheerleader, so obviously. But that right there is an example of how you do not allow someone, and I don't think Kevin Roberts was trying to hijack the interview. I think he was genuinely like deer in the headlights, like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I better get this right. I better get this right. I better get this right. That's how you target the idea and dissect it and have that person explain clearly, even when they avoid it or even when they try and like hope that the question is not going to be, restated. She handled it exactly how Tucker should have handled the entire interview with Nick Fuentes, pushing back, asking for clarity. And then when someone doesn't give it to you, ask again and again and again. Don't give him an out, really.
Which was my major issue with that interview with Nick Fuentes. It wasn't like, you can't have him on or how dare you or anything like that. It's like, like, why are you basically just sitting there?
Well, so that's the bummer about the whole thing is like the tragedy of that interview is totally being sidelined with all of this conversation about someone trying to cancel Tucker. No one's trying to do that. Like, I'm sure that there's some people out there who would love nothing more than for him to be off the airwaves, but everybody knows that's not going to happen. Nobody's putting forth a genuine effort to get his, I don't know, podcast demonetized or something. They know that's not going to happen, even if they wish it did. So they're having that conversation and not talking about what actually needs to be talked about, like the Nick Fuentes problem, the problem with young males in our country that are imbibing this and saying, starting to kind of flirt with this guy. You know what I mean? Kevin Roberts' first statement didn't help, but sadly, I don't think that
he did those follow-up. He did that follow-up interview. He did a follow-up statement. It's clear that they're trying to kind of, because
damage control.
Correct. Because they're having people pull donations, funding. They have people resigning.
Yeah.
There was a report from The Hill that the individual that actually wrote that statement was, I forget his first name. I know the last name is Newhouse. Nicholas. I think it was Nicholas Newhouse. And so he was the chief of staff to Kevin Roberts. The reports, I'm giving you guys the information. I don't have exactly an inside scoop here, but the reports are that he was the one that wrote the statement. Essentially, it sounds like, at least the way that we're being presented the story, Kevin Roberts took the statement, read it publicly, posted it, and did not have a full understanding of the entire discussion that it was happening online or full context of what was happening online, and didn't realize, I guess, the ramifications of that statement. Like,